If you are watching this video, it means that this channel has reached the 1,000 subscriber milestone. Yay! At the time of filming, I am just a little over 900 subscribers, but I wanted to make sure I got this filmed and ready to put out since it takes me so long to edit, and also I needed an entire weekend completely free because for my 1,000 subscribers celebration special, I'm giving myself a bit of a challenge. I am going to sew for 1,000 minutes. Listen, I've seen what other people have done for their 1,000 subscriber special, 5,000 subscriber special, 10,000 subscriber special, and I have learned from their mistakes. I needed to do something that was enough of a challenge to be a challenge, but still be something that isn't unrealistic. 1,000 minutes works out to be 16 hours and 40 minutes, and I'm gonna split it up between today and tomorrow, so 8 hours, 20 minutes each. And in order to stick to that, I'm not going to be giving updates like I usually do or moving around the camera as much. I'm gonna tack on a little bit of extra time to my allotted, just to cover times that I do have to like move equipment around and stuff like that. So what will I be sewing? I'm glad you asked. I have 4 projects lined up. They are all commercial patterns that I've never done before. They're in my skill set, but they're all kind of a style I've never done before either. So the first one is this one. It's a simple knit dress that I plan to do in this stretch green velvet. I've sewn stretch knit before, and I have a stretch knit dress that I started. I haven't finished it yet, but this will be my first real go at a stretch knit dress since this pattern is specifically made for it. The other one I'm making isn't. I just went down a size. And we will be doing view B for this one. Next we have pants, or the closest thing to secret pants that I've found. I've made stretch knit shorts that I used for bathing suit bottoms before, but other than that, I've never made pants before. So this should be exciting. We are doing view B for this one as well, and the front's kind of misleading. Let me show you on the back. I want it to look as much like a skirt as possible, and I think now you're dark. I think the illusion is more convincing at that length than the long length. I'll be making the pants out of this fabric, which is like a twill, I think. I think it's twill. The third is a blouse that I'm going to make out of this recently acquired fabric from Joann. I haven't done any shirts really either, and I don't know why, because I don't have a lot of blouses. I think it's just I haven't found a lot of shirt patterns that I'm crazy about. I don't know. I've mostly made dresses and skirts with the exception of 2 vests. I don't think it'll be too much of an adjustment since the bodice of a dress is basically a shirt. But this is a fabric that I haven't worked a lot with. It's thin, it's delicate, and we'll see what happens. Also, view B for this one as well. Lastly, I have this gray cable knit that I plan to make this top, although I think I'm gonna change it to a square neck. We're breaking from the view B trend on this one, and we're gonna do view A. Now, let's talk about predictions and expectations. My prediction is that I will finish one and start a second one. Why line up 4 then, you ask? Because if I'm wrong, I don't want to run out of projects before the time runs out.
I was only going to plan 3 of them, but then I forgot what the third one was, so I picked a different third one, and then I remembered what the third one was. So here we are, 4.
My expectations are small. Mostly I just want to know how long it takes me to finish a project. I feel like it takes me longer than it does other people, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. I suffer from time blindness, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate, and really the only way for me to figure out how long it takes me to do something is to time it. And maybe I'm just too hard on myself. I know a lot of time is going to be taken up by cutting out the pattern, and I thought about doing it ahead of time, but I decided against it. I need to know how long it takes to do a project from start to finish. So until I can buy my patterns pre-cut on the regular, I need to consider the time it takes to do that awful, godforsaken part as well. Anyway, let's get to it. Alexa, start a stopwatch.
Okay, stopwatch started.
So the first thing I should probably mention is that the shots from my phone are all going to look a little bit hazy. See, I filmed it using the front-facing camera, and I'm someone who uses her phone like a phone. I know, crazy. But when you do that, you tend to smudge up the lens, and for whatever reason, I didn't remember to clean it, didn't notice it when I tested the shots, so some of these look like they are a dream sequence. I apologize in advance. The next thing I should mention is that the time in between when I filmed this and when I edited it was way too long. I got sidetracked with the whole opening a fabric store situation and low-key hoped that I wouldn't reach 1,000 subscribers in the meantime. I didn't, and that's not really a good thing, but it was, sort of. Anyway, I had a bit of a hard time figuring out these clips since half were on my phone and I didn't say what it was that I was doing. I did consult the instructions though, and I think I have it all figured out. Hopefully. I ironed my pattern pieces like a good little sewist. I never used to do this, but after I started, I can't really imagine skipping this step. It's useful, sure, but more than that, it is so satisfying. If you don't have pattern weights, just remember that all matter has mass and takes up space. Therefore, it weight. Ooh, this is my favorite clip. Almost 15 minutes of me doing things just out of sight of the camera. It was an artistic choice by the director, apparently. So this pattern starts you right off with the most difficult part, the cutout. Actually, now that I'm looking at the instructions, that's step 3. Did I start with step 3?
What?
Holy cow, I think I did. Anyway, I spent so long measuring this from every angle under the sun to get it perfect, and it still wasn't. It didn't matter anyway because I didn't sew it perfect. So if you too are a perfectionist, remember that no matter how hard you try, it is probably not going to turn out perfect anyway, so don't waste your time. Do I think you will listen to that advice? No. Will I listen to that advice? Also no. After the facing was sewn to the front of the dress by way of the cutout, the next step is to cut out the cutout. I wish there was a way to say that sentence without so much repetition. I repeat myself a lot, and I really need to cut it out. Once I had it cut, I had to understitch the raw edges. This is another thing that I never used to do because I didn't know how, didn't think it was important, blah blah blah. I did it this time. I pressed the edges first, but I used such a low setting and fear of melting my fabric that it really didn't do a whole lot for me. I had to do the understitching by hand anyway, so it wasn't as much of a necessity. If you are unclear on why understitching is important, it keeps collars, or in this case, keyholes, from flipping to the wrong side. I originally thought I'd have to top stitch in this situation, but lo and behold, understitching is actually the answer. This dress also has an elastic bit that goes at the bottom of the facing that helps give it a little bit of a conforming shape. But I don't know that it really did anything. More on that later. I really enjoy sewing elastic like this though. While past me is busy sewing the elastic edge under and stitching the facing to the sides of the dress, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the channel and what it means to me. I've been sewing for over 15 years and never finished a project until I started this channel. It keeps me motivated, it keeps me creative, it keeps me accountable in a way, even though my uploading schedule is pretty much non-existent. If I didn't start this channel, I probably wouldn't be sewing, or have opened a fabric store. I guess what I'm trying to say is, oh, here's the collar. So the collar of this dress is a high collar. I don't know what to call it, but it's like my favorite collar. I thought maybe it was a mandarin collar, but I'm not sure if that would require a break in the middle front. In my opinion, it isn't tall enough to be considered a turtleneck, but what do I know at the end of the day, am I right? Up next was the zipper. Now, I hate invisible zippers, but I did it anyway. For you. For YouTube. For everyone. I thought this would be a great opportunity to use my invisible zipper foot, and it was. But you can't really see any of it because I didn't change camera angles at all. Enjoy! You'll probably never see it again. And then, inevitably, I have to make at least one mistake in everything I sew, right? This mistake is pretty common, and I thought that it would have some sort of name unto itself based on how common it is, but my Google search came up short. Basically, the fabric was twisted when I sewed it in place, resulting in a Mobius loop. There's no way to turn this right side out. You can only seam rip and do it again. If you've heard of a name for this, have a name for this, or would like to propose a name for this, I'd love for you to leave it in the comments. Once I finished fixing that, I sewed up the rest of the back, cut out the pockets, and sewed the pockets to the sides and the facing for some added structure. Alright, my original intent was to do an update last night when I was done for the day. That didn't happen because I didn't finish until almost 11 o'clock at night and I was tired and I went to bed. So, this is what I have gathered and done day one of the challenge. Let's start with where I'm at. The dress is almost done. It would have been done if I had not made a mistake, and if I hadn't added pockets, because I'm adding pockets. It was a last minute decision. I wasn't going to, but then I thought, maybe I could, so we're gonna try it and see what happens. That's where we're at with that. Definitely going to finish it today. There's not much left on it. And then we'll start the secret pants and see how far we get with those. What I have learned. Well, for starters, I've learned that my time blindness must not be too bad because we are right on track for my prediction to be fulfilled, and that is having one item done and another item started. That's kind of where we're at right now, so I think I'm pretty good at guessing how much I can get done. However, I did notice that on days where I sew all day, I don't think I sew nearly as much as I think I do. After like 3 hours yesterday, I was ready to call it quits. At this point, I think it's safe to say that I don't sew any more slowly than the average sewer. I don't think. Anyway, we got 8 hours and 20 minutes of sewing to get to, and it is 9:24 in the morning. Let's get to it. On the second day, I foolishly thought that the dress was almost done. Finish the pockets, sew up the sides, and hem it, right? Except that this dress has sleeves. There's some easing involved here that I didn't want to skip since I'm working with stretch fabric, and I think it probably helped. I don't have any issues with the sleeves anyway. I went way too hard on the narrow part of the narrow hem for the sleeves, and the end looks a bit ragged IMO. I don't think it's too noticeable, but I still wish it hadn't happened. You can totally tell that I'm putting the sleeves in here. I definitely didn't name this clip Sleeves Maybe because I didn't know what the hell I was looking at. Definitely sleeves though, in case you can't tell. Once I had it all put together, I took out all of my visible stitching and hemmed the bottom, and she's done. For something that I thought I was almost done with, it took me most of the day. It was 8 p.m. when I started cutting out the second project, and that was all I got to do with it. I'm showing you the uneven edge in this shot that's a product of cutting on the carpet, but all I can see is the pet hair all over my fabric. Also a product of cutting on the carpet. Mostly. Oh, right. We are coming at you live from Social Life Fabric Shop Classroom A, I guess. Anyway, this is the reveal. And the outro. But we're gonna film it together, because I already filmed this once, and I didn't say anything that I wanted to say. So here we are, but I have notes this time. Starting with the dress. The understitching was poorly done, quite frankly, because I hate hand sewing. I'll probably fix it someday, but I don't know, probably not actually, because it's not something that I can fix while I'm wearing it, and that's usually what prompts me to fix stuff. So like my blind hems at the bottom of all my suit pants, they get fixed. I can do that while I'm wearing it. I messed up the size of the facing, and it's annoyingly short. It's supposed to sit, the bottom of it is supposed to sit right here, and instead it sits right here, which I don't think is noticeable when you look at it, but I feel it, and like I can kind of force it to sit where it's supposed to, but it's not going to stay like that, and it's not really worth it. It's not comfortable. I don't know if it's really worth fixing this. I think I'd have to like deconstruct the dress to do it, because it's basically the facing is the first thing that you do. The zipper. Oof. See it? It doesn't lay flat. I'm not sure if maybe I stretched the fabric when I was sewing it. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's because I didn't iron out the zipper. Who knows? But definitely not getting fixed because I don't really care. Yeah, and I'm also not going to fix it because I'm not confident that that's the problem, like the stretching of the fabric. So if that's not it, then I'm just going to take the zipper out, put it back in, and still have the same problem. So it stays. The pockets are pretty much useless. So like if I have something small and flat, like I'll take this, it's fine. I can use it for that. But that's usually not what I have to put in it. So keys, or my phone, which I think just the phone actually will fit. It weighs it down and it looks a little ridiculous. So, I mean, I have the pockets, but I usually need pockets to hold my phone, and that's entirely out of the question. Plus, I don't think it's big enough for the whole wallet, which I kind of need my whole wallet, not just the phone. Other than those things, I am really happy with how the dress turned out. I love collars like this with the cutout. I love that look. I'm probably gonna make like 5 more of these dresses, varying lengths. Knit fabric is super comfy, and it wasn't terribly difficult to make. I have in my notes that I could have made it in a day if I hadn't made a mistake, but I don't know if that's true. Maybe like a 12-hour day. I put that in my notes before I realized how much of the second day it took for the dress. They didn't have the sleeves. Didn't have the pockets. Definitely. One day. But a weekend for sure. Obviously, a weekend for sure. It was also really nice not having to finish the seams. That's a perk of knits. They don't fray. So like you can finish the seams if you want it to look clean and polished, but if you don't care, and I don't care. As far as the second project, I really only got to cut this out. I didn't do anything else with it, and I'm not even sure that I did a great job of cutting it out because I cut it on carpet. It is something that I want to finish someday, because that is specifically what I bought that fabric for, was to make some kind of secret pant situation. As for all of the other projects, called it! I finished one project and started another. I don't think I would have gotten the second project done if I hadn't made a mistake on the first one. No. As far as my sewing speed and what I learned, I think I sew at pretty much the same pace as other sewists at my skill level. Even though I've been sewing for a long time, I still feel like I'm a beginner. I don't get to sew as much as I'd like because I have other hobbies and obligations, like work. I also tend to make a lot of mistakes and overthink problem-solving strategies. It also adds time to, set up the cameras and the angles and move them around. I'm like sewing, stopping, moving the camera, sewing again. And some of the angles that I choose to do are really difficult to sew in, like when I do the close-up of the sewing itself. But that's my favorite angle. Like, it's really tough to do because I have like the tripod, 2 legs on the floor and then 1 leg in between my legs, and I have to kind of work around it and look over it so I can see what I'm doing. It's not easy, but you can see everything. So I'm not going to stop doing it. It isn't fun, but that to me is the most useful angle for content creation. It is absolutely worth it, in my opinion. So now let's talk a little bit about the channel moving forward. So first and foremost, I am so incredibly grateful to have reached the 1,000 subscriber mark and to have all of you out there supporting me. I haven't uploaded as much as I would have liked in the last 5 years, and I changed the focus of my channel a heck ton of times. Like 3 times this year, I think. Yeah. I actually have at least 3 videos filmed that haven't been fully edited that'll be coming out sometime soon, probably. They were filmed so long ago that my beloved Butterball is in them. Part of the reason they haven't been edited is because there were more current events that I wanted to make content on that wouldn't have been relevant if I waited, like the Met Gala and Joann's closing, me opening a fabric shop. And part of the reason is because it was really difficult to see my boy. I have the cats, so that helps. But I miss him. I thought that I would be making videos about the store, but that didn't really happen. I honestly had to set up the store so quickly that all of the videos that I had in mind to do, like decorating the store, for example, couldn't be filmed. I had to move quickly, it would have slowed me down, and I just did not have time to spare. I also thought that I wouldn't be able to make videos outside of videos about the store, and I no longer find that to be true either. In fact, I think this is a great time for me to get content out there. Right now, my store isn't very busy, and there isn't a lot of work to be done in the store. On top of that, I get most inspired when I'm in a fabric store, and now I'm in one all the time. I think this would be a great opportunity for me to showcase what I would do with the fabric that I sell, and it'll help me promote my shop too. So, let me give you the cliff notes, the TLDR, or TLDW, I guess. I love the challenge. The dress is mostly great. I accurately estimated how much I'd get done. I'll have more sewing videos out for you, and thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Until next time.